Hey everybody, it is Chuck Barone on Wednesday, May freaking 8th already, 2024. Hope everybody's having a great day today. You guys see these markets today? I gotta say, it's just the craziest world ever. So these markets are so driven now by the news every day. That is no way to be any kind of investor where your stock's going to go up and down wildly by the news of the day. It's just stupid. But anyway, before I get on my roll here, let me take a half a second and welcome everybody to the show. Welcome everybody that's on the live today. Nice to have everybody here. I see my friends Salty and Big and Kevin and Sergeant Schultz on here. Attila, Skeet, uh, Dan. Nice to see you guys all around the country. It's uh, it's going to be an interesting report for you guys. I got something that maybe not everybody's thinking about so much. Anyway, before I get rolling again, let me welcome everybody to the show, all my friends on the live chat. As always, guys, thank you, thank you, thank you for your support. The show is doing much better. We're getting way more consistent views, way more consistent likes. I just want to thank all of you guys for that. It means the world to us, guys, and the show's starting to grow. I'm happy. All right, anyway, let's talk about markets. So the market today, it was a very slow data day, not much coming out. We got some inventory, basic, warehouse inventory, not much today. Okay. So the markets had no direction, so they kind of just drifted today. The Dow gained because the Dow components is only 30 stocks, as you know. The Dow components have been earnings. They've been doing great earnings wise for the most part. So the Dow continues to rise. The Dow gaining 172 today. I think it's like a 4 or 5 day winning streak for the Dow now. 39,056 points for the Dow. The NASDAQ comes down 29 points, sitting at 16,302. The S&P was flat today, down less than 1 point, 5187 on the S&P. So as you can see, a very quiet day in the stock market. 172 points move in the Dow used to be wow. Now with the Dow at 39,000, it just isn't that big of a deal. So a quiet day in stocks. The bond market too. Bond market actually had a little small rally today, though. The 10-year rallying up, or actually, no, wait a minute. The bond market's selling off a little today. Yields up. Don't mind me, guys. So the 10-year up 3 basis points, 4.49%. The 2-year up only 1 basis point. Now at 4.84%. You can see that diversion now. We have an inverted yield curve. So the 2-year higher than the 10-year higher than, it's all stupid. Now narrowing down again. Remember when we were talking about this back in the day on the show, and it was only 14 basis points different. We were talking about, I'm looking, left mirrors the dialogue with the chat going. Anyway, we were talking about how, maybe the yield curve could go back to normal, but it hasn't. Anyway, so the yield curve, the Dow up, stock market's flat, bond market pretty much flat. The dollar today gained small, up 13 basis points, 105.55 on the dollar index now, creeping closer back up to 6%, I think, or 106. I think that's where the dollar should be, around 106 right now. And I got a feeling it's going to go and get there. Precious metals today had a down day, but just a small day. Actually mixed, silver up, gold down. Gold down $5.70, $2,022.40 for an ounce of gold. Silver rallies up 4 cents, $27.28 for an ounce of silver. So metals still holding their own, guys. I mean, I know gold's off its highs, silver off its highs, but these are still good, strong numbers. If somebody would have told us, 6 months ago that these numbers would be where we're at, everybody would have been jumping up and down. So things are good in metals, and they're going to find their reason to rally again. Believe that, guys. Oil rallies up a little today, up 85 cents per barrel, sitting at $79.23 for a barrel of West Texas Intermediate. These day-to-day changes don't change the trend. The trend is down. And if they actually can work out some kind of peace treaty between Israel and Gaza, you'll see oil prices fall further. Bitcoin today rallies, or no, Bitcoin today falls $1,319, 61,677 for Bitcoin. Still a good, strong number for Bitcoin as well, although well off its high. There's a huge article and some research I have to read. I haven't had a chance to get to it in Barone's about Bitcoin and why it's going to continue to rally up. We'll see what they're talking about, and we will be talking to you guys about that as well. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there wasn't really much data today, just a little bit of data on wholesale inventories, which came down exactly as they were expected to. Just a small percentage drop, 0.4%. I think that's not I don't think that's what the Fed was hoping for. I think they want these inventories to build up a little bit. That's how you get discounts on product. When the warehouse starts filling up, the boss gets nervous, starts pushing stuff out the door at discounted prices. I think we're still a little bit loaded up in these warehouses, but the inventory is starting to come down. Not great news for the Fed. Decent news for the economy, though. Goods and services still being bought, guys, even though people aren't charging as much, right? But what we're looking for is inventory to build up. That's how you can get some discounts. I think that, sadly, the only places that's going to happen, though, will be the typical stuff that goes up and comes down pretty savagely, like electronic stuff and that kind of stuff. I don't think we're going to see much relief at the supermarket. I think gas prices are going to start coming down a little bit. Hopefully that'll be nice for everybody with driving season coming. All right, today you saw the headline, why are prices so high? Well, I was browsing around yesterday reading, and I saw this quote. It piqued my interest. It said, why are things so expensive? 4 companies control 85% of the meat market. 4 airlines control 80% of all the air travel. 3 companies control 92% of the soda sales. 3 companies control 75% of cereal sales. Guys, this concentration, monopoly kind of power, not exactly a monopoly, not the only one, but we already know they've all been found guilty of colluding with each other to keep prices higher. So these concentrations in all these industries, big reason prices are high, okay? We know inflation. We talked about greedflation and the factoring in of greedflation along with the inflation that was happening from bottlenecks of natural reasons, okay? We know that corporate profits are at all-time margins, corporate margins, percentage of profit, all-time freaking highs. So all these price bumps just fattening up the bottom line, even though they're blaming it on inflation, right? Now, I wanted to really kind of look at that a little bit further because I thought that was interesting. So I looked at it a little bit further, and basically, guys, which was kind of surprising to me, almost every industry, almost everything in this country now is in the hands of a very few companies. Think about it. Tech, what do you got? Google, Apple, Microsoft, what else? You got pharma, big pharma. How many of those are left? People that make airplanes, how many of those are left? Defense contractors, how many of those are left? Banks, the big banks, was there 4 of them? They control everything. The regionals just basically still surviving, waiting to be gobbled up by them. How about medical stuff? Medical care. How about entertainment? The TV, all the streaming stuff. It's 4 companies. You got automotive. How many real companies are making big money in automotive? Just the bigs, right? Telecom. What's left of telecom? Right? How about food and beverage? The restaurant chains blowing out mom and pops, right? You got retail sales. Amazon and who else? Walmart, right? You got energy. Exxon. You got insurance. Now the insurance companies have all the power. If you're a risk, they're blowing you out or they're charging you Brazilian dollars. right? I mean, it's just basically all the industries here in America concentrated down into the hands of just a very few companies. This gives those companies tremendous power over the way the business works. They don't have competitors undercutting them on price. If anybody comes along and creates something new that's a big hit, one of these monopoly companies just come in and buy them up. What's the last thing Microsoft really created? How about Apple? Really, what have they created? The iPhone they just updated. I mean, these monopolies are not great for that stuff, right? Here's the interesting thing, the finish of this, right? They said, well, how come we never hear about any of this stuff? Why is it so quiet? How about this? 6 companies control 90% of the media and the news. Well, that would kind of explain things, wouldn't it? So, if they point the finger at other industries, sooner or later, somebody's going to look at their industry, right? Guys, this was the way it was in this country back in the Gilded Age. Very few companies, giant. That's right, get your silk, buy your metals, guys. Very few companies controlling everything, right? We know about the most famous monopoly, of course, is the Standard Oil monopoly, John Rockefeller, old John D. And Teddy Roosevelt, the president, came and started breaking all these monopolies up. And they created all kind of new antitrust laws to prevent that from happening, because it's great for that business. It just sucks for the rest of the country, right? So we thought we had this problem solved, but now that we're in this new era, and I told you guys, the government, everybody wants to be mad at the government. They want to be mad at the center. They want to be mad at the president. They want to be mad at the red team or the blue team. It's all fluff, bro. It's all the big smoke screen to keep the real people who are calling all the shots in the shadows. And who are those real people in the shadows? They're the bosses and CEOs and giant stockholders of all the big corporations and the oligarchs in this country, thus the ultra wealthy. They're the ones writing the laws. They're the ones writing the rules. They're the ones telling the government exactly what to do and when to do it. And that's why, guys, pretty much everything coming out of Washington benefits them at the expense of us. Now, we'll see if we ever get another president with any kind of balls to do something about this. Because what will happen is, how politics works right now, they've managed to make politics more about money than ideas. They've managed to make it like a weird competition. So when you see these debates, you see presidential debates, even if you got 2 brilliant guys up there, which, let's just face it, Trump and Biden are not, okay? But you got 2 guys who really knew their chops. They wouldn't really be able to talk about ideas, because the point of these debates now is a gotcha moment, a clever nickname, the stuff that grabs the media's 30-second attention span. There's no room for talking about real ideas or things they want to accomplish or things they can do for the betterment of all of our society. We don't talk about that anymore. We talk about these friggin' divisive issues, which they want to keep us focused on forever, right? Abortion, guns, there's a whole list of them that keeps everybody divided and fighting with each other. Immigration, or this whole Jewish anti-Semitic thing going around now. These young kids on the campuses protesting. These kids, I can get it. You want to be mad at Israel for, the heavy-handed way that they've been fighting this war. But let's not forget that the Palestinians started it, man. They invaded friggin' Israel, killed 1,200 people, kidnapped 300 and change, did some, if this is true, did some stuff that would be considered an atrocity, killing babies and, raping all the women, and, the stories that go around, because we've heard both sides pointing the finger at each other about that stuff, right? So who knows what the hell the real truth is. But, this stuff, the media wants to portray it. They want to keep us divided. guys, we need to focus on what's really important now, man. There's solutions to this stuff, and the solution is eyes open, understanding what in the hell's really going on, man. So you got this massive consolidation. It's going to take us 50 years to break it all up, I would guess, maybe longer, if we can survive as a country that long. The craziest times I've ever seen, ever. They thought IBM was a monopoly back in the 80s. They broke up AT&T. That was the last big one. They used to stop this kind of consolidation. Now you got companies not only consolidating and buying up every bit of competition they can find, but the stock buybacks, which is just the biggest flim flam ever. And now you're talking about Apple going to buy back $110 billion worth of their own stock. That's going to manipulate some earnings, I would guess, guys. Earnings are going to go up for Apple. Yay, Apple. Anyway, the craziest times ever. And I want everybody to be aware of this monopoly stuff that's been happening, that is, we're living in now, right? Moving on. You guys have all seen this buy now, pay later stuff, right? Everywhere you go, no matter what you're buying, whether it's groceries, even gasoline I've seen. Amazon offering it, everybody offering, you don't have to pay now, just buy what you want and you can pay later. Well, this is kind of a shadowy kind of thing here because most of that stuff doesn't get reported to credit reporting agencies. So that stuff doesn't really get counted in the debt. So one research company went and did the research, and you know how much money now is owed on these supposedly little small buy now, pay later deals? $700 billion freaking dollars. Well, I wonder what the default rate on that is going to be. I'm going to guess it's going to be extremely, extremely high. So that explains how consumers, well, partly explains at least how consumers still have so much buying power. Well, it's easy to buy if you're not paying. Anyway, guys, I'm going to cut it off a little early today. I've been running these 20 minutes. It's too long. Everybody's dropping off before the show even finishes. So we're going to wrap it up for the day. Tomorrow's the big one, guys. It's jobs and a whole bunch of data. Tomorrow will be an active day in the market. It'll be a big show. We'll have a lot of stuff to talk about tomorrow. Think about this concentration. Think about the stuff we've been talking about on this show for the past couple of days. Who the real bad guys are, how they're doing their work, just like this with these, monopoly businesses they're building. Craziest times ever, guys. Anyway, that's it for the day. As always, we appreciate your support. It means a ton to us. Please, if you can, guys, hit the like button. It changes the algorithm around. It gets our show out there in front of more people's eyes. It's really beneficial to us. We appreciate all of your support. Thank you, Attila. We appreciate all of your guys' support. It means the world, guys. We'll be back tomorrow. It's going to be a huge day. Until then, guys, take care. Thanks.